What's up, world? It's Isaac here for 360 Talking. So we recorded this following clip in the winter with my friend Mark Bowden, world body language specialist. During the recording, our audio recorder froze because it was so cold outside, and so we didn't get any clean audio, and I was debating whether or not to release this clip. But after reviewing it again, it's such a great clip, such a great conversation, I decided to release it. So here it is. Enjoy it, and apologies in advance for the poor audio quality.
And we're rolling, finally. All right. What's up, world? It's Isaac here with the one and only Mark Bowden. We're 360 Talking here under the Gardner Expressway at, what's this place called?
Underground Park or something like that.
Some amazing graffiti. Take a look around. It's a little bit loud, but hopefully you guys can hear us okay. I'd like to start each episode, basically give a quick story about how I know the person I'm talking to. So with you, I'm pretty sure 5 years ago, maybe we met. TED Talks, alumni breakfast.
Yeah.
You gave a little talk there.
Yeah.
And was fascinated. Sort of cornered you after breakfast, and chatted, and then we've been in touch ever since.
Yeah.
And sort of in touch and seeing what's up. So that's how we met. You are a globally celebrated body language specialist, so it's always intimidating to talk to you. Like, what do I?
I've got my hands in my pockets now anyway, because it's chilly out there.
It is a Canadian winter day, so it is a little chilly. But so you started out as an actor.
Yeah.
And then, so what was your journey? Like, how did you transition from that?
Yeah, so when I was an actor and performer, I was directing shows as well, and really niched in physical theatre. So stuff that you'd now see in like The Lion King or even Cirque du Soleil. You know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was part of the groups that were pioneering that idea of telling stories with pictures rather than with words and scripts. And that really suited me because I'm dyslexic, and it was hard for me to read any scripts and learn lines, and not that I didn't, but it was just hard work. And I love that visual element, which is kind of like what we're here today. It's a great kind of visual place to be. And so I transitioned from, I guess, the world of creating pictures that entertain to business and politics, because business and politics was going, how can we influence and persuade people with the pictures that we're delivering to them? And so I guess from that I got into being an expert in human behaviour when it comes to, and body language when it comes to telling the business story or the political story, and not just the kind of entertainment story.
Right. So you do, you released a book, I guess that was last year? Truth and Lies?
Yeah, Truth and Lies, so co-authored by Tracy Thompson. Truth and Lies, What People Are Really Thinking. The publisher, HarperCollins, wanted a book on reading body language. And I first of all said to them, no, I don't really want to do that. There's lots of books out there on reading body language. I'd really focused on how you use your own body language to influence and persuade. And then I thought about it, and I thought, no, hang on, what would a book on reading body language be like if for me it was a really good book? What if I wrote a really good book on that? And with Tracy, we worked out it would actually be a book on critical thinking, disguised as a book on reading body language. So really that's what it is. It's about how do you think better and more accurately? What's the process of thinking more accurately about people in order to get closer to the truth of what might be going on in their head, and a process of that.
So, you studied, obviously, it's not just body language. You go back deeper into sort of our evolutionary past.
Yeah.
It's an analysis of, it's not just here's what body language means, but here's why it's
Yeah, I want to know why. I'm just intrigued with why. Like why? Like we've evolved, and we've got roughly 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head in roughly the same place as each other. We're upright hominids. So I'm interested in, so what is it about that means we're going to behave in different ways? And then what is it about the environment that we're all in that's going to influence our behaviour? And how can we look at that to work out why people do what they do? But also, most importantly, influence and persuade them. So I'm really interested in, can you put a human being in a certain environment and therefore get a pretty stock response out of them? And therefore, if I need to influence and persuade them, instead of manipulating them in some way, I just change the environment so that they'll output a different set of behaviours or thoughts or processes. And I always bias towards evolutionary behavioural psychology around that, because I just think it's most accurate and it's most useful. So I'm looking at, what is it about the evolution of our brain, our mind, and our body that means that we're all very, very similar rather than different personalities.
So you said, look, you don't want to manipulate people, but I mean, any sort of influence is manipulation.
For sure.
Education is
absolutely
manipulating these ideas. Manipulation has like always has a negative context to it. And it's sort of like our manipulation is what we're constantly manipulating. Any sort of human interaction is a form of manipulation.
Yeah, for my mind, manipulation means to move intelligently. Manipulation comes from mani, the Latin mani for hands, and so it's to move around delicately and intelligently. We've got this big neocortex because we can move our fingers and manipulate stuff around us, and so I want to change things and change the way people are thinking and feeling and behaving. Because sometimes I think that they're not going about things the right way. Now, I could be wrong or I could be right. If I've got some intelligence and some education, I hope that I might be more right than I'm wrong. And there are other people out there just like me, business people, politicians, people trying to sell you stuff, people trying to help you, people who are leading not-for-profits and want your life to be better. But if they don't manipulate the world around you and the way you're thinking and feeling, you'll just carry on doing what you've always done, and it may not be best for you. So I don't have a bad view of the idea of manipulation, and so I give people the tools to be able to manipulate others to get them to do what they believe will be better for them. If they get it wrong, they got it wrong, and those people will be remorseful. If they get it right, life gets better.
So you work primarily with business people, politicians.
Yeah.
I know you get some stuff from Beyond the Grid. What's your, I don't know if you say this on camera, what's been your favorite point of taking people
Yeah, so obviously politicians are really interesting, and certainly ones that are running countries. Okay, there's a lot of feeling of I'm with somebody who has a lot of power, and it's hard not to resist the drawing of that. It's certainly hard for me, because I think, wow, I could influence them. And I have. I've said, well, do this or say this, and they're going, okay, and then it turns up on TV, and you think, oh, they've just said what I told them to say. That's kind of interesting, because I'm just like anybody else. I think I've got the right idea. Now maybe I have, maybe I haven't.
You're a decent, genuine person who's not like some sort of like sinister guy going like, well, haha.
Sure, I'm not trying to rule the world and explode bombs on people that I don't think I am, at least, or I've not noticed that I am. Yeah, sure, I genuinely want things to be better for people, and I genuinely work with people who have a genuine idea that they think if you did what they wanted, the world would be better. Now, they could be wrong. I've never worked with anybody who I don't think believes they have the right idea. I've worked with politicians who I don't think necessarily have exactly the right idea, but they genuinely think they do.
Have you ever put your foot down and been like, no, I'm not going to coach this person because I don't believe in their values because you don't want to assist them in achieving their goals that you're not in line with?
I have not come across any client yet where I go, oh, you are truly trying to harm me. You've got this is malicious against a certain group of people who are utterly powerless. You know that, and you're hurting them on purpose. I do work with people who are in very complex situations and understand that the things that you do cost, and some people therefore don't get the best deal out of it because there is a finite amount of resource that you're moving around. Now, maybe I'm living in it. Maybe that's a fantasy. Maybe there is an infinite resource and nobody ever has to suffer for anything. But that's not what I see around me. Complex situations, people trying to move resources in complex situations. Some people don't come out of it so well, but they believe they're making the right combination of choices.
That's something that when you're working at sort of higher levels of decision making,
absolutely,
you have to make those hard choices. It's not good, but you're making the decision based on.
Well, or yes, or those who you think matter most. And yes, we could be in a world where everybody matters. I mean, that's true. Everybody does matter, but we know that for us, some people matter more than others. That's true. That's the truth.
You know what's funny is I just had that conversation maybe a week or so ago with somebody and they completely disagreed. So there's
right.
Sort of
Okay.
not an argument, but further answer back and forth. Like everybody's equal, everybody's equal. Like a heroin addict who's a child molester
right.
doesn't have the same value as Elon Musk.
Right.
Like everybody is not. Everybody deserves equal rights, equal access to whatever.
Do they get them? Not necessarily.
Not all of them, but that's the
right, and so some people get to make some of the choices around that. They have the power. That's the nature of politics. Greek, I believe, for power.
Do you think the politicians are truly in control? And I mean, we go down a rabbit hole with this conversation, or do you think that big business is steering the ship? They're making decisions for the politicians.
Well, all these constituents are partially in control. Here in Canada we have a democracy. It has a certain system by which you get elected. Businesses and individuals can fund elements of that process. Ultimately, people lay their votes. The votes, not every vote is as valuable as every other vote. If you're in a big city like Toronto, a riding here has the same power as one out in the middle of Ontario somewhere with less population. Therefore, one of those populous votes out there has more power than mine. If you want to view it in certain ways. So there are it's a complex system, lots of things have power. So I guess what I think about from a professional point of view is where can I intervene and have some power. I can have power as a voter, or I can go and work with a politician or with a leader of a business and exert an influence power there, not only my own, but I can have a conversation with you and you can say, well, here's the way I think the world should be going from my point of view, and I can think to myself, maybe I should put Isaac's point of view, to the Prime Minister or to that leader of the business, or so we all have actually a lot of influence if we're prepared to go out and exert that and take that influence and have some skills that can put that out there. You yourself, you got a great camera. You got a tool of influence. You're able to communicate to people. You're able to get people to sit with you and talk. You've got great influence. I think you just have to choose to exert that influence sometimes and not go, I'm powerless. Sometimes it feels like that, but I guess sometimes we have more power than we think.
So you've got some YouTube videos. You have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yeah. So put some links to that.
That's right.
So I've seen some of the videos where you're analyzing like politicians, like micro gestures.
Yeah.
Body language is our non-verbal communication, the physical part of it, and it's the way that we respond and display the power around us. I'm Mark Bowden, I'm an expert in human behavior and body language.
I'm honored to be here with President Enrique Peña Nieto and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who has also become a great friend. This has been a battle.
So notice there on that idea of battle and that indraw of breath. It's rather like the sound that you make when you've been hurt in some way. So it seems like the non-verbal communication there, including the tonality, the sounds being made, are an indicator of the battle being one that hurt him.
Is there any insight that you can glean on kids? Body language is such a
Yeah. I think that's a fair analysis. He is animated, and so he is full of life. He's full of action. He's full of behaviour. In fact, there's probably nobody on the planet that can create so many gestures in such a short amount of time and flip from one to the other. So you literally go, wow, what happened there? It's like this crazy car crash of information.
So you find yourself almost like hyperstimulated.
Yeah, so
watching him, you're like,
which one do we pick?
And like watching it in slow motion, I slowly reassess what I just saw.
Oh, there are moments where he can go through 5 or 6 very quick gestures, and you're like, literally, it is like a cartoon character or a muppet, and it's not on purpose. He's a brilliant entertainer. I truly don't agree with many of the politics, much of the politics that he does. He's a fantastic entertainer. You cannot not watch, and that's the point.
It's unfortunate. I'm not obsessed, but it's like I just. It's almost like you wake up, turn on the news to see what happened.
Right.
It's
Right. Yeah. If you want his power to decrease, stop watching. but I challenge you to not watch, because it's extraordinary and on purpose. So we've got to understand that he did The Apprentice for, I can't remember how many series, and if you watch The Apprentice, he's really good at it. He's a great entertainer. He plays his part well. Mark Burnett was the producer of The Apprentice. We only watch entertainment like we watch it now, partially because of the structures that Mark Burnett created for those real dramas. The idea of constructing something that you believe is real when it's written just like in a script would be written. And also has this drama of the last person standing. It's a fight to the last. So it's interesting to know about Mark Burnett. My understanding is he was British parachute regiment in the Falkland Isles on Goose Green. So if you look up the Battle of Goose Green, he was in that battle, and again, he was a young guy at the time against other young Argentinians, and they had to unfix bayonets, so it means they're not going in with it's too close range for guns, and so it's knife to knife, hand to hand combat. That's Mark Burnett.
do you know him?
I don't know. I've never met him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but extraordinary. So, I mean, what's interesting for me, and I guess a bit about, the way my mind works, and so how I look at behaviour and I look at why people do what they do. With Trump, we're partially looking at being produced by somebody who has truly seen looked other people in the eye and been in death combat with them. I'm not celebrating that. I'm just going. There's a line there. There's a line. There's a reason and a line, and there's a line around life and death and the entertainment around that.
It's a big concept. Yeah. So what's on your plate these days? You're always on a flight. You're always
Yeah. In fact, when we were texting about doing this, I was up in the air on the way to San Diego. So much of my time I spend getting on planes and flying out to an event where there'll be a few hundred people or a few thousand, and talking to them about non-verbal communication and how they can use that to stand out and win trust and gain credibility whenever they're communicating. So a lot of keynote speaking, a lot of training seminars, some one-to-one training that I do with individuals. But in the main, it's big events trying to get people to the quick and easy skills and powerful skills of what you can do with your body language to influence and sway others.
For something like that, you're obviously not going to get down to like a master's degree in body language, but it's starting the conversation and making people aware. And I know, like, every time I hang out with you, or when I watch your videos, or when I hear TED Talks, it's just really about engaging that understanding that there's more to this.
Yeah.
That this means something. This isn't just sort of like random.
Yeah, and to give people everything that I know would never be helpful for them. That would just be a bit nerdy and interesting for other kind of nerds in the area, but not interesting for them, not helpful, not useful. I'm trying to distill down what I know to some really simple, easy techniques that they can do immediately that would make a profound difference, quick difference, to the effect that they're having when they communicate. But also, as well, trying to get them to remember that they're human and they've got a body. There's a lot of I guess media that we get and philosophy that we get out there, which is about our minds and about our spirit. And actually, in many ways, I want to remind people you've got bodies. This is a totally physical, tactical world, and a lot of what we're doing. A lot of our behaviour, a lot of the way we think about that we have is a world. The temperature is reminding us that
anybody who's watching this, just go like sit in the freezer while you're watching this episode.
Yeah.
Feel what we're suffering for the earth.
But I mean, it's good to remember that. I'm part of I think a lot. The main thing I'm trying to do with my keynote speeches is to remind people that they're alive, that they're animated, that they are animal, they're life. And I think one of the easy ways to remember that you're alive is to remember your body, and to get those sensations in your body and realize, well, I can move this how I want. And when I decide to move it in a certain way, I get a certain effect in other people and in myself. So it's not, what I'm teaching them is not meditative, it's not yoga, it's not, in terms of the yoga of the mind, or it's not, that's all good stuff. And there's great teachers out there. I'm trying to teach people, you've got a body, you can control it. By controlling it, you can get a set result. And the better, more towards the result that you want.
So, sort of on a side tangent, I may have missed some posts, but you usually post a lot of like sock and shoe game posts on your Instagram. I just totally taken a left. Like you used to take pictures of.
Oh yeah.
Before you did. You still did it? I may have missed something.
Yeah, so I used to post what I called keynote carpet,
Right.
which was So I'd go to all these keynotes, and I realised after a while the carpets in hotels, some are extraordinary. So I'd be looking down and just going, well, who designed this carpet? I mean, from modern to old to ornate to super colourful. Hotel ballrooms, which is mainly where I end up speaking, have some extraordinary carpets.
You always have the socks.
Always, yeah. So I only wear red socks, simply because I decided years and years ago that that was going to be part of the official brand, red socks. But also, the reason is because it makes your feet easy to see on stage. When you're on stage, people's eye line is usually at the foot of the stage. So one of the first things they see is your shoes and your socks, and then they go up. So one of the first judgments they make is what's happening with this person's feet. So I thought, okay, well, let's make a statement there. Also make it really easy in that I threw out all socks and just bought many of one brand of red socks. So I can only ever wear red socks, which means people always ask me, hey, are you wearing your red socks? And it's like, yeah, of course, because there's no other opportunity for me. And also I get noticed on planes, people are walking along the aisle of the plane, they go, oh, Mark Bowden, and they've noticed the socks.
So that's a brand decision, I didn't know that.
That was a brand decision, and just, how do I always make sure, what are the things that will always make sure that whenever somebody sees me, they're getting something that they recognize. Yeah. It's a pattern. It's a recognition. It's a pattern of recognition. You never want people to go, what? So even if I show up, not in my uniform of etro jacket and paisley shirt, and they will get the red socks. Anyway, so I would photograph the red socks and my Jeffrey West, dress shoes, black dress shoes, against crazy carpets. And I think I shot every place that carpet. And the idea was, well, the story I'd set up is that I was commissioned to do a coffee table book. That wasn't true, but I would say to people, well, look out for the coffee table book that's coming out soon, keynote carpets. Maybe it's still a good idea.
Yeah, no, it was definitely memorable.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up.
Yeah, for sure. Before we die of cold, the skateboarders are out anyway.
Any links? So truthblame.com.
Yeah, truthblame.com is always a great one to go to. Just Google Mark Bowden, body language, and you'll hit a bunch of sites with my stuff on.
Speaking of Mark Bowden,
There is. There's another author who wrote Black Hawk Down, and so we do get mixed up now and again. There was a time when I was invited onto a very important BBC current affairs show to talk about anti-terrorism. My agent rang me up and said, "Well, they want you on the show to talk about anti-terrorism." And I thought, oh, okay, all right. I guess. Then I rang her back later on and went, I really think that's
Amazing. Thanks so much for coming out.
My pleasure.
Great, Nicole.
Yeah. Yeah, well, great to speak to you. Pleasure. That's great.